Hello, my dear friends. Welcome back to elenasbarre and the resurgence of sanity. How are you doing, guys, today?
Great.
Great. Nick, how are you doing? Oh, he's drinking. Okay. Sorry.
Perfect timing.
I wasn't watching. Okay. Well, darling, how are you doing? Did you sleep all right?
Yeah, I slept pretty good last night.
Oh, okay. These allergies. I'm so sick and tired of them. I still have another month to go with the grass allergies, guys. Anyway, well, we have an interesting topic today. It's fatherless children, and we are hoping to get a guest speaker today, but I'm not sure what happened there. Anyway, let me welcome everyone. Tacticus is here. Great to see you. Then the Smoking Patriot. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Remember to please like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. And yeah, guys, you have experience of being the fathers, right? So tell me what is happening to your children when they're being raised by single mothers. I know we've talked about these topics before. We are just revisiting some of them, and yeah, I still hope that Vlad will show up here shortly.
Steve, why don't you tell your story?
Well, I have two adopted children from my first marriage. She falsely accused me, and so I haven't seen them for 15 years. Okay, well, they're doing what they're doing, but kind of, you can kind of see what they're doing. I have a daughter in medical school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not proud of that. Why the hell is she going to medical school? I'll tell you why. Her mother brainwashed her into, oh, you need a plan B. You can't trust a man. So therefore, that's what she's going to do. And she'll end up making more money than him. And gee, do you know the reputation of people who work in the medical field? Oh, we hear a lot about nurses. I don't think the doctors are much different. And so you got a husband who's not a doctor and a doctor woman who's out there mingling with higher income, higher achieving men. This doesn't seem to me to be a good idea.
Well, and they're not necessarily healthy there, right? They might have the high status, but they are in the hospital. I mean, something might be wrong with them.
Well, I'm just talking about the doctors and the nurses.
Yeah, I know, but if it's yeah, true. Yeah, it could also be the doctors, but also the patients. I've seen some movies.
You have your guest there. You better invite. You better welcome him in.
Yeah, Vlad is here. Great to see you, Vlad. Thank you so much for joining us today. Yeah, tell us about yourself a little bit, because I've been following you on social media, but I'm not sure the guys know you.
Sure. Well, thank you for inviting, and it's good to be with you. I watched a couple of weeks, I guess, maybe 3 weeks now, one of the shows, and obviously following Elena's content on the social media. I found her through, I think you were guest starring in Pearl's show. You were sharing something there, so I think that's where I kind of caught you initially, and then I found you for social media. So I was born in Soviet Union in Kazakhstan. I'm Russian by background. I was born in the former capital of Kazakhstan, Almaty, back in 1980, and caught the last 11 years of Soviet Union collapse, and living through that era was definitely an experience. And then I lived in Almaty till I finished high school at 17, and then I lived in Cyprus. I moved to Cyprus. I studied there in English college, business, marketing, accounting, all those little things for a couple of years. And then I ended up going to Canada as an international student, and I lived in Canada for over 23 years, 20 years in Toronto, 1 year in Vancouver, and a little bit of around Ontario. Throughout that time, I also traveled to the United States as a health coach multiple times, California, Florida, New York. And the last almost 2 years I spent in Mexico. I actually lived in Playa del Carmen, just outside of Cancun, for close to 2 years. And besides being a health coach, I'm also a father. I have 3 children with 2 baby mamas. I don't recommend, but that's just what happened.
Wow. We are going to talk about that. Okay.
That's part of a discussion for today, but that's just part of my life. And I definitely, I think by nature and nurture, I'm not the person that likes to give up on things. So I have an idea of having a good, healthy family, with the wife, with the children. So I'm still willing to attempt one more time to find a good woman and start a new family. In the meantime, I'm trying to deal with fall out of custody with 2 other baby mamas.
Wow. So
Where do your children live?
They are in Canada. They're in Canada. My son from my first woman that I was with has been ongoing custody battle all his life. He just turned 9 years old. And then my second baby mama, she was with me through the challenge of the custody for the first son, and then end up turning on me and siding with the other one last 2 years. So it's been definitely an experience.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Vlad, I have a technical question for you. Are you still paying, even though you are not married to neither of these women? Are you still paying the child support and the alimony?
Great question. So I only have paid child support for my son, so to the first baby mama, and I paid until the lockdown. So we're talking about 5 years ago, and the reason why I stopped contributing is because she withheld my son one more time. So, if you're gonna keep my son away, I'm not gonna be paying anything. And we have a whole custody battle for the last 5 years for the custody of my son, and I can discuss that a little bit more in details as we go forward. But for my daughters, I don't have court orders for the daughters, anything happening yet. And at the same time, I'm in a position where if my children are not with me, I'm not going to be paying anything, because if you're withholding access, you kind of cutting the any rights to anything that's coming from my side. That's kind of how I look at that. People don't like that, but for me, if you're not going to be playing by the rules of sharing access and custody that's supposed to be divided, then you relinquish any claim for anything else under the kind of common dynamic that might happen in separation.
Wow. So what does Canadian law say about that if you withhold custody? If she withholds custody and you refuse to pay the alimony and child support?
Yeah, I mean, my case is pretty unique just because I've been conducting myself as much as I can outside of the system, even before the lockdown. So I'm not your typical guy that just the job, has a paycheck, and then the government can easily go after the person if they want to get stuff from him or her. So in general, I have friends that their income got garnished regardless of access. So I have one friend from Nova Scotia. So my case is in Ontario, Canada. I have a friend from Nova Scotia where the ex-wife withheld access to 2 of his children, and he had to pay the child support. And even though he refused, they just garnished it from his paycheck. So you have no rights to you have nothing to say. If the government wants to take money away from you and your children at the same time, they're going to find justified way to do it in Canada, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's an abomination. The state has usurped the authority over the household, and the household never got a say in it.
Yeah.
The fathers got screwed, and the authority was taken from them, which belongs to them by nature.
Yeah.
And then so basically what that means is the state aids the woman in kidnapping your children. That's what it is. It's man stealing.
Yeah.
And then they force you to pay the kidnappers.
Correct.
And then the state enriches themselves at your expense.
In the process, yeah. And to make the matters worse for a lot of men that I talk with, because men obviously are the main breadwinners, so they're the one of the 2 partners with the income. And I think it's even the same in the United States, but definitely in Canada. If you actually are well off, you're successful, and you have income, you're going to be paying for your own lawyer, and you're also going to be paying for the lawyer for your ex-wife. as she's robbing you blind, you're also going to be paying for that experience. That's how crazy it is.
Hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
not
not-
quite that way in the U.S., but the more money you make, the more screwed you are.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to the point we mentioned earlier, I think it's deliberate agenda that's been happening to replace the father with a daddy government. And when that happens, the government, aka the system, has more control over the children. And that's, to me, ultimate goal is to obviously to double the taxation on the second part of the household, right? That's why kind of the women got brainwashed into going to the labor force. So then people at the top can tax that labor too and make more money on them. But ultimately, is to take away caretaking and raising the children based on family values and allow the state to not educate but to indoctrinate the children into the belief system that's going to be only serving the state and not the children or the family at the same time.
Well, it does, but it's extracting money from the man.
Sure.
It doesn't
main-
all
the
go
main-
to the woman, but it's enabling her lifestyle. But they're actually money mining him.
Mhm.
And then, yes, you're right. It's all about taking the man out of control of the situation, because the family is the foundation of society. You remove the family or negate that or the training of children, people become easier to control down the road.
Well, actually, Steve, let me dive in deeper into this. You remove the father's authority from the family. The father has no legal authority. The family collapses. Essentially, this is what is happening.
Yeah, the family becomes transformed and not in a good way, right? It becomes off balance. And when you take out the father's role as nature and nurture created is for us to be the one who creates structure, discipline, and accountability. So now if you're going to be raising children who are going to be adults and actually continuing building this world, if they have no structure, no discipline, no accountability, that's why you see degeneracy and just complete fallout of the Western society in the free fall at this point, almost.
That's the same conclusion I came to. I mean, I
Yeah.
couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, Dabney saw it, 1873.
Maybe you better tell Vlad who Dabney is. He may not.
Oh, so
No.
he was he's probably the most brilliant theological mind in the South,
Okay.
if not America. He was chief of staff to General Stonewall Jackson of the Confederacy. He was one of the first professors at the University of Texas when it was founded. Very, very smart man. He wrote about the rise of the women's rights women, which is, early feminism,
Yeah.
and the women being elevated in the church to preachers and stuff like that. And so he said, no, this is what's going to happen. These women are going to essentially create this monster with two heads, and it's going to be basically it's going to destroy the family structure, and they're going to raise a bunch of bastard children and a totally debauched society. He said basically the women's rights women will be the scarecrow for the rest of the world to never attempt again.
When did he write that?
It was either 1873 or 1879. I get the articles confused. So
And in summary, the phrase I love about that is marriage.
I got the quote.
Marriage will be reduced to a vagrant concubinage.
Interesting.
Oh, I got the Dabney quote. There you go. Okay. Here, I'll find it again. I'll put it on the screen. If you give me a second. Okay, I go open, file location, open with.
In the meantime, you're opening that. I made a post on my Facebook about maybe 8 months ago saying that when you remove the father from the children, you remove the connection to God.
That's
And I got
so
attacked
true.
on that, and I'm like, why are you attacking me when that's the fact?
It is well, it's
That's
women
what
who
C.S.
have.
Lewis was talking about a lot too, I think.
Mm.
Well, to the reason that you got attacked is because to many people's minds, removing the connection to God is a good thing.
Unfortunately, the evil ones, yes.
There's a lot of that out there.
But then I got attacked by the same feminist that's kind of been writing the code of my second baby mama now, because I make all this public on Facebook. I leverage Facebook to the max in terms of showcasing my personal struggles and showing what's really going on there. But yeah, they were saying like, well, no, the connection to God can be for the woman as well. I'm like, well,
Wrong quote. Sorry,
Yeah,
I pulled the wrong quote. I'm going to find it.
I mean, the way I explain that, go back to the Gospel of St. John.
Here
In
it
the
is.
beginning was the Word. Well, that doesn't mean anything. In the beginning was Logos. And Logos was with God, and Logos was God. Logos is the second person of the Trinity, Jesus Christ. Logos, it's a Greek word. It has a great meaning. It means structure, order of the universe, hierarchy, everything that's ordered. So, okay, well, there is a hierarchy in the family. You remove that hierarchy, everything's upside down. It won't work. And women
Like
think
Dabney said.
they can do it on their own. No, women, go back to Genesis. A woman was designed to be a helpmate, not to be a boss babe and not to control things. God created us with purposes and talents. And yeah, you can't just take the man out and do the man's job. It doesn't work for women. Although they beg to differ.
I'll read this. It's a long quote, but this sets the stage. So this was 19th century. Robert Louis Dabney. It says, there we go. So it will be found it is no disparagement to women to say it, that the very traits which fit her to be the angel of a virtuous home unfit her to meet the agitations of political life, even as safely as does the more rugged man. The hot glare of publicity and passion will speedily deflower her delicacy and sweetness. Those temptations which her maker did not form her to bear will debauch her heart, developing a character as much more repulsive than that of the debauched man as the fall has been greater. The politicking woman, unsexed and denaturalized, shorn of the true glory of her femininity, will appear to men as a feeble hybrid mannequin with all the defects and none of the strengths of the male. Instead of being the dear object of his chivalrous affection, she becomes his importunate rival, despised without being feared. This suggests a third consequence, which some of the advocates of this movement have already bold enough to foreshadow. Women's rights mean the abolition of all permanent marriage ties. We are told that Mrs. Katie Stanton avowed this result, proclaiming it at the invitation of the Young Men's Christian Association of New York. She holds that woman's bondage does not truly dissolve until the marriage bond is annulled. She is thoroughly consistent. Some hoodwinked advocates of a revolution may be blind to the sequence, but it is inevitable. It must follow by this cause, if for no other, that the unsexed politicking woman can never inspire in man that true affection on which marriage should be founded. Men will doubtless be still sensual, but it is simply impossible that they can desire them for the pure and sacred sphere of the wife. Let every woman ask herself, will she choose for the lord of her affections an unsexed effeminate man? No more can be drawn to the masculine woman. The mutual attraction of the two complementary halves is gone forever. The abolition of marriage would follow again by another cause. The divergent interests in the rival independence of the two equal wills would be irreconcilable with domestic government or union or peace. Shall the children of this monstrous no union be held responsible to two variant, coordinate, and supreme wills at once? Heaven pity the children. Shall the two parties to this perpetual co-partnership have neither the power to secure the performance of the mutual duties nor to dissolve it, it is a self-contradiction, an impossible absurdity. Such a co-partnership of equals with independent interests must be separable at will, as all such co-partnerships are. The only relation between the sexes which will remain will be a cohabitation continuing so long as the convenience or caprice of both parties may suggest. And this, with most, will amount to a vagrant concubinage. But now, what will be the character of the children reared under such a domestic organization as this? If human experience has established anything at all, it is with the truth of that principle announced by the Hebrew prophet when he declared that the great aim of God in ordaining a permanent marriage tie between one man and one woman was that he might seek a godly seed. God's ordinance, the only effective human ordinance for checking and curbing the first tendencies to evil, is domestic parental government. When the family shall no longer have a head, and the great foundation for the subordination of children and the mother's example is gone, when the mother shall have found another sphere than her home for her energies, when she shall have exchanged the sweet charities of domestic love and sympathy for the fierce passions of the hustings, when families shall be disrupted at the caprice of either party, and the children scattered as foundlings from their hearthstone, it requires no wisdom to see that a race of sons will be reared nearer akin to devils than to men. In the hands of such a bastard progeny, without discipline, without homes, without a God, the last remains of social order will speedily perish, and society will be overwhelmed in savage anarchy. Last, it would not be hard to show, did space permit, that this movement on the part of these women is as suicidal as it is mischievous. Its certain result will be the re-enslavement of women, not under the scriptural bonds of marriage, but under the yoke of a literal corporeal force. Robert Louis Dabney.
Wow.
19th century. We're
You know,
living it right now.
Well, I think reading, we've read that before, but listening to it again, I think he'd be surprised at how long it took to get to where we got, where we've gotten today. I think he thought it would happen much faster. So,
But would you say that like the last 50 years, like when feminists really like took over, kind of, that's what propelled everything forward, though? Because, and I think there was a combination of better males really co-opting with feminists, thinking that they're gonna have a better chance combating the alpha. I watch this psych hack guy, Orion, his name is. He's really cool on YouTube. I'm sure you've seen his clips, right? And he has a really good one discussing the rise of beta male at the expense of alpha males. And the reason why is because they made a coalition, the alpha females made a coalition with beta males to get rid of the alpha males.
well, the process to do that is going to take some time. And there was a bit of a interruption to that process in the form of World War II.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
So, and I think that's why it took so long. Because after World War II, what do you have? You have a bunch of men who just survived a war. They come back as hard men who they're not going to take shit, right?
Yeah.
So, if there was a delay, it was the World Wars. So
yeah, well,
go ahead, Steve.
There's also an impact there. The World Wars, especially Russian men. Well, Russians in general. What, 27 million Russians?
Yeah.
And those were the most virile alpha men who volunteered. It was the same thing in Europe. Over the last 150 years, it's all the best men who went to war and got killed. So, and those were men who were raised by fathers, strong, hardy, probably principled men.
Yeah.
And I think we're feeling the impacts of that as well.
That's actually a really good point, because if you think about this, yeah, I mean, there would be the alpha strong ones going to the front lines who stay behind the lines, right? Not as strong or committed to maybe standing for freedom, and they end up raising the next 2 or 3 generations, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's a good perspective.
You know, and I just want to say this. The men on both sides of the war were good men.
Yes.
I mean, the German men who fought, most of them were good men. The Soviets, or Russians, who fought, most of them were good men. The French, the Americans, all of them were good men, and they were just thrown against each other. And now we're taught to hate. Oh, you know, we're supposed to hate Russians now.
Yeah.
You know what? Russians, Iranians, they have the same desire as we do.
100%.
Be left alone, a wife, and raise their children, and you know, live their lives. But we're motivated to hate. And really, men around the world have much more in common than we have differences. Because this feminism, this attack on the family, is being felt everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really appreciate you saying that, and I absolutely 100% agree, and I've been thinking that and sharing that for quite some time, that, you know, again, it's the people at the top, the power of the system, that they purposely antagonizing, you know, men against each other, and we just like the same. We just, you know, we want to have a good wife, we want to have good children, we want to have a good income, and we want to have time to enjoy the life that we have, because it's very short. And always hate and war and killing each other is not serving us. It's only leading to our own demise. And the sooner we can realize that, it's just, we have to unite at this common ground of family, tradition, and just prosperity and abundance for everyone at the same time. And we can actually accomplish that. Like, there's so much abundance out there. There's no real scarcity. The scarcity is created from the top. Again, being raised in Soviet Union, I always share the story that at 8 years old, so we're talking about 1988, I was going to the store with food coupons to buy, you know, groceries for the family at 8 years old. First of all, as a child, you go into the store to buy food for your family. I don't see any 8 years old going and doing family grocery shopping here, right? I'm in Miami, by the way. I've been living in Miami for the last 6 months. I'm in Miami, Florida right now. But I was, and then when I'm talking about food coupons, I'm not talking about having monetary value. So the government kind of give you food stamps. No, the food coupons meant the government created limits on how much food you were allowed to buy per month. So the coupons only designated how much by weight you can get sugar, or, you know, how much whatever pasta you were allowed, or whatever else, you know, the canned food, and that scarcity was created from the top on purpose to suppress the people, to condition people into this kind of stress mentality and control from the top on all the levels. Because if they're gonna control your food, they control everything else about you, right?
Yeah, so true. My mom used to go buy potatoes with that coupon that Vlad is talking about. We had it all over the Soviet Union.
Yeah, the system worked everywhere, the same system. So yeah, it's interesting to observe this kind of demise of society and orchestrated from the top, and people are ignorant and just delusional to a certain extent, thinking that the government is going to take care of them. You know, the government not going to take care of you. It's only going to take away stuff from you and make it worse.
Well, so specifically here in the United States, we have a bit of a ignorance about this, because we tend to believe that will never happen here.
Yes. Yeah.
American exceptionalism, right?
Yeah.
And look, the U.S. today, can't speak to the future, but the U.S. today produces about 25% more food than it needs. So we are a net exporter of food throughout the world. But we also have spent an enormous amount of time and effort destroying family farms in exchange for mega farms, and then the government pays farmers to not grow food. So you could wake up next year and it could be decided that we're not going to make enough food.
Yeah, the caveat to that conversation, especially in the United States, and again, having a health coach background experience since 2000, so last 25 years, I joke around, I've been making America healthy again for the last 25 years. It's good to see that it's official government now. But I knew from a long time ago that the food industry is owned by the pharmaceutical industry, and it's all owned by the same people that owned tobacco before. So it's all kind of few handful companies, and specifically in the United States, they create like a lab experiment almost where they're feeding people garbage. When you're talking about, having more food, I would question what kind of food are we talking about here. If it's mass produced from the factories, I wouldn't even consider it to be food, because, that burger comes from like 1,000 different cows, and it's not really made in a way like it's supposed to, right? But on a conversation of organic, traditional farm food, like you said, the government actually going out of their way to destroy them, and that's again leads all to the control and power to the top people that they are there for whatever different reasons.
Oh yeah, I was only talking about volume, not quality.
Exactly, right? Exactly.
Yeah, you know why I'm so messed up? Because the whole time I was raised, we would go over to the neighbor who was a dairy farmer, and we would get the milk right directly from him. So
Exactly.
I drank raw milk my entire childhood. It was not homogenized. So if I'm messed up now, that's the reason.
Well, I'm messed up as you. In Kazakhstan, we would go outside to the little village next to the capital where I lived, and then my favorite would be to drink milk while it's still warm, because we literally just milked it like right before, and I'm drinking and it's still warm. It's like the best thing, and I would drink 1 liter as a kid straight up. And now I have a connection here in Miami. I have people that bring every single week fresh milk from Pennsylvania Amish farm. So I'm drinking raw milk like every single day.